Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. It is April 25th, 2017. I'm going to be bringing you a space weather report and also an earthquake and volcano report for today. But first things first, I want to show you how they start covering up information as we need this vital information. This is the website that we get all of the magnetosphere, magnetopause, and all of the solar wind information, as well as the radiation levels. Now, since 4 o'clock this morning, this website has been completely shut down. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a government NASA website. And they frequently do this to us when they're trying to cover some situations up. Now let's take a quick look at the sun. Right now, as the doctor said yesterday, if you watched our live stream, this coronal hole that was wreaking havoc and producing such a heavy solar wind is now starting to close once again because it is now turning away from Earth. The sun has actually been very, very quiet over the last 24 hours. However, the solar wind does take some time to get to Earth and impact our planet. Now, as you can see, this is the last 24 hours of earthquake activity, and earthquakes are still rumbling across the world as we speak. Kind of a very odd earthquake that occurred today was a magnitude 4.7 in Santiago de Cuba. And, you know, Cuba's really not an earthquake center, but they've been having a lot of earthquakes in Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and all the way down through the Caribbean. I'm going to just go ahead and zoom in here just for a minute, just to show you these magnitudes of these earthquakes. Earlier today, there was a 4.4 in Guadalupe. There's been a rash of earthquakes around Puerto Rico. Now, they usually do have a little bit of activity here, but this earthquake right along the fault line in Cuba, a 4.7, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, they did downgrade this as I was looking at all of the seismic devices that were reporting this earthquake. The highest I found was a 5.4 at the epicenter. Now, there were some very small earthquakes in Tennessee, in South Carolina, and I was getting a lot of emails today pertaining to a situation in Minnesota where you see this little diamond shape right here. But if you click on it, this was actually a blast that occurred at a rock quarry. So this actually caused the seismic devices to register. Now, there's a lot of activity once again in California. These are mainly small earthquakes, but to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, this is all going to heat up very, very rapidly as far as the earthquake activity goes. We'll just take a look at another map, and as you can see here, everything that you see in red has just occurred within the hour. Now, there was just a magnitude 3.0 in Spencer, Oklahoma, 34 minutes ago. There's the earthquake in Cuba and the Dominican Republic. It was a 3.78. However, whenever I looked at the epicenter statistics for that earthquake, it was a 4.3. So they are downgrading the earthquakes considerably. There was a 4.5 up here in the southern ridge of Alaska. And ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't hear about it, there was a magnitude 7.1 in Chile. Now, earlier this morning, as I was monitoring this situation down here in Chile, there were over 40 aftershocks that were occurring in and along this coastline right where the capital of Santiago is. These earthquakes were felt as far as 100 miles inland. So we are not out of the woods as of yet. There is some earthquake activity brewing in the South Pacific. You don't see much of it on this map. However, there was a 4.7 in Indonesia, a 4.8 in Vanuatu, and a 4.4 in Russia. And Pakistan incurred a 4.3. Now, moving into the European map, once again, There's always a lot of activity in Turkey, Greece, and up through Italy. This is pretty much just their normal activity. Really nothing major to report there as far as their earthquake activity. But getting into volcanic activity. Now, I would say probably for the last 2 months, we've had approximately 30 volcanoes in full eruption. As you can see on this map, as of today, this has increased to 39 volcanoes that are in full eruption mode as we speak on April 25th, 2017. Something that I do want to show you. This is the only solar wind model that is up and running. Like I said, I showed you in the beginning of the broadcast here that they have shut down the NASA government site where we get all of this information. It's now been shut down for approximately 24 hours. I find that very, very suspicious. But what I do want to show you is what's going to occur. And this is a solar wind prediction model, and this will take us out all the way to the end of the month. And what we're going to be looking at here is plasma density. You can see that it's going to spike pretty close to the beginning of the 29th of April and probably last all the way through going into the 30th and the 1st of May. And as you see, this is the Earth right here, this little green dot. This large stream that passed by, this was probably the heavy stream that the Earth went through that possibly caused power outages across the globe. Now, we're going to be heading right into another one of these streams over the course of the next several days. The coronal hole that was facing us, we're going to be experiencing those solar winds probably for the next, I would say anywhere between 3 to 5 days, possibly even 7 days. So if by chance you live in any earthquake area or volcanic area, just keep a heads up. There is a lot of activity brewing across the globe, as you can see. I mean, if this isn't a lot of activity, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to tell you. So just heed my warning, make sure you stay prepared, and we're going to be updating this information as much as need be. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are prepared. Make sure you are paying very close attention to the information that's coming out there. You're not going to see a lot of this information on mainstream media unless there is an absolute catastrophe, and you'll probably hear it then. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching.